miss us?
We're back.
Welcome, sports fans, to the 7th episode of CSPN. We're now into the dog days of the spring sports season, and we have a jam-packed show for you this evening.
Let's see what the rundown has in store for us this evening. We'll begin by going by the numbers with the baseball team, and then we'll go to CSPN correspondent Michaela Durkin for an update on the track, sailing, and softball teams.
And next on tap will be the first half of our Case in Point segment, aka the CSPN Debate Forum. We will look at some hot topics in the world of collegiate and professional sports with guest star Alex Kent. We will then catch a glimpse of some rising stars on the CHS tennis squads.
After that, we'll look at some standouts from the girls lacrosse team and also take a look at Anthony's exclusive interview with new boys lacrosse head coach James Bowden. We'll then conclude tonight with another round of Case in Point. This is the longest show we've had on CSPN thus far. It'll be about 40 minutes, so strap in and get ready for some awesome CSPN action.
Before we proceed, however, we would like to express our grievances for all the victims in the Boston Marathon tragedy. Our supporters with all those affected, and we hope that we can use sports to help return to normalcy.
And let's start that return to normalcy right about now. The baseball team has been coasting through the season so far. They currently sit at 4-5. For a deeper look, let's go by the numbers. Special thanks to Coach A and MaxPreps.com for all the statistics. Hello, Skipper fans. The baseball season is in full swing currently as the boys sit at 4-5, but that record is a little bit deceiving as they are 4-2 in the league, and that league record is really the only thing that matters for their playoff hopes.
And that being said, we'll take you through the Skippers' past 3 games, starting with a 6-1 victory over league rival Rockland, followed up by a doubleheader against Dennis Yarmouth, where the Skippers lost both games to DY by scores of 7-1 and 8-1 respectively.
And despite those 2 losses, the season has still been pretty good for the Skippers. And since baseball is a game of numbers, how about we go by the numbers?
Let's do it.
The first number we have for you guys is 438. This is Captain Connor Getz' batting average this season. He's just been tearing it up the plate. He also has 7 RBIs, so he's been batting runners in too. He's been doing great all around. And before you go, he has 2 bum shoulders, so he's doing all this while being injured.
Definitely great work by Captain Getz. And speaking of impressive batting averages, our next number is 318. This is the cumulative batting average of the Skippers as a whole. Their offense firing on all cylinders right now.
Absolutely, it has been a high-octane offense for the Skippers, and on that note, the team has 8 players who are batting 300 or above this season.
Very impressive.
That's very phenomenal, definitely high-octane.
And our next number is probably one of the most impressive numbers you may hear all year. 0.000. That is the current ERA of stud relief pitcher Brendan Oki O'Connell. Keep floating him, Oak.
And when he says stud, he means stud. Oki has been great on the mound. You know who else has been great on the mound is ace Shane Haggerty, who currently is having his opponent's bat only 167 against him. He's essentially unhittable.
Amazing.
So that opponent's batting average is not very high.
And our final number is 91%. This is the fielding percentage of the Skippers' defense, playing flawless right now for their aces.
It's really been a great year for the Skippers all around. We'd like to thank Coach A for giving us all those statistics, and we'd like to wish luck to the Skippers for the rest of the season. Batter up.
Certainly, it's been a great year thus far for the boys of spring, although, they should probably watch out. You can clearly see Matthew and I have some skills with the bats and balls.
Let's be honest, they don't really have anything to worry about.
You're right.
Speaking of worries, let's go to CSPN correspondent Michaela Durkin. Just kidding, Michaela. You're definitely better than us at being on camera. We apologize. Anyway, what's going on in the world of Cohasset sports these days?
Hello sports fans, I'm Michaela Durkin and this is your CSPN update. Tonight we will be looking at the CHS sailing team, which is new to this year. The team is off to a great start after winning their first regatta 5-0 against Notre Dame Academy. Speaking of new teams, the softball team is back at CHS after not having a program for a couple of years. Currently the girls are playing at the JV level and they hope to have a successful season and move up to play varsity competition in the near future. In other news, the track team, which is a joint team with Hull, has lost to East Bridgewater and West Bridgewater, both 2 powerhouse programs. However, the CHS team has proudly had 3 members qualify for the state meet, which will take place in May. It's clearly been an exciting start to the spring sports season for every Skipper sports team. Be sure to come support Cohasset and show your Skipper pride. Once again, I'm Michaela Durkin, and this has been your CSPN update. Let's get back to Matt and Anthony in the studio.
Great job, Michaela, and thanks for keeping us posted.
The Case in Point segment is up next, and this time it'll be a lot more exciting. Both Matthew and I found it pretty difficult to argue over Cohasset sports topics, not really too much debate about.
True.
So we decided to liven it up with some divisive topics from professional and collegiate sports. Also, we ran a Facebook contest, and senior Alex Kent won the chance to debate with Matthew and I in the debate forum. So take a look and watch out for some scalding and vicious rhetoric.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CSPN's Case in Point, otherwise known as the CSPN Debate Forum. Today we'll be doing something a little special. We'll be talking about pro and college sports at a little different level than the Cohasset sports we normally talk about on Case in Point. This is something that we'll be doing in the summer. Anthony and I will be talking more about, as we said, pro and college sports. Before we dive in, however, we'd like to welcome our very, very special guest, Senior Alex Kent. He is a senior at Cohasset High School. He was one of thousands who entered a CSPN contest, and he is the lucky winner who now gets to appear on Facebook. The contest was on Facebook, and he now gets to appear with us on CSPN. That was a little bit of a mix-up. Alex, you're going to be the mediator for today. How about we get started?
All right, thanks for having me. All right, first question we're going to go with. Should Robert Griffin III come back for the start of the 2013 NFL season? Let's take it away, Matt.
I'll go first. All right, I personally think he should not, and I think there's many reasons. A lot of people, first glance, would say definitely he should come back. They'll say the doctor, he said his recovery so far has been, quote, superhuman. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, most people would think, all right, he should be back. But I think that this is something that's really bad because people also see how Adrian Peterson came back after 6 months of the ACL injury. Mm-hmm. This is the same injury that Robert Griffin is suffering. And his is actually even worse because he also tore his MCL. Right. So I think, but Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe, I think, summed it up best when he said, Adrian Peterson, what hath thou wrought? And what he means by that is Adrian Peterson comes back in 6 months, and immediately everyone expects any player who has an ACL injury to come right back in 6 months. I don't think it's the right decision for Robert Griffin III. You look at Derrick Rose. He's someone we also considered a freak, just like AP, but he's not coming back the entire year. He's waiting to make sure he is healthy. I think that's what Robert Griffin should do. Not to mention they have Kirk Cousins, the Redskins do, as their backup quarterback, and he's very good. He played well in limited time last season. So I don't see any reason why Robert Griffin should come back.
Yeah,
what do you think, Anthony?
I'm going to completely agree with you. He's the franchise for this team.
Absolutely.
We don't know if he's going to be 100% after the ACL, MCL injury for week 1. You mentioned Kirk Cousins. Really great job, and was it a start or two he had to fill?
Yeah, he probably had a couple
Griffin.
starts, if I recall.
Very admirable. I just think he's too valuable to possibly lose long term. If you know, like, this to Kirk Cousins, but he's no RG3.
Yeah,
if you take RG3 off this team, they don't make the playoffs.
So would you be angry if he sat out the entire year?
You mean like a Derrick Rose situation?
Right.
I just think, well, we're talking about week 1. I don't think he should play week 1. I think he should play maybe during the season, depending on, if what they say about the superhuman recovery, if that's true enough. I
Alex, you got something to say?
We're going to get a good look at Kirk Cousins in the preseason here, see what he can really do.
Definitely, very true.
So, depending on how that goes, just kind of time will tell RG3's injury.
Right, exactly. Because if Kirk Cousins is playing well, there's no reason to rush RG3 back. But RG3 being a competitor is going to
he's want to get out there, but
I think, I don't know. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Who is, in your mind, the Heisman Trophy favorite for the 2013 college football season?
This is a nice question. I think there's a lot of candidates we all know. My lead right now, a lot of people would say Johnny Football, but I'm going to go with Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback from Louisville.
Okay. There you go.
Of the Big East.
Okay.
Many might know Louisville absolutely destroyed Florida. They annihilated them in the Sugar Bowl last year. They destroyed them, and they showed that they could really play with the big boys. And I think that's a lot on the arm of Bridgewater. Definitely. Last season he had, my stats are correct, 3,700 plus yards, 27 TDs, and only 8 interceptions. He's an efficient passer, and they're going to pass even more now that they know they got a weapon in him. And he's got a good receiving core. Devontae Parker's coming back. He's leading those receivers. And, the only issue is the Heisman Trophy winner is usually on a national championship contender.
Exactly.
And we don't know if Louisville's going to be that. They definitely have a good chance to go undefeated and run the table, but they're in the Big East. They're
not a tough conference.
Their schedule is like
hard.
It's a cakewalk. Their hardest game is like Ohio and UConn. Like, you got to be kidding me.
Exactly.
So if they run the table and he plays phenomenally, he might have a chance, but I don't know. I don't know necessarily, but another guy to watch, probably not going to win it. Kadeem Casey, running back from Arizona.
There's a name drop.
Unbelievable.
If look that one up.
If Arizona has a good season, then maybe you'll see that, but I doubt it. I'll go with Bridgewater.
I'm going to pick a quarterback as well, not Johnny Football. Also, I'm going to pick Braxton Miller from Ohio State. I think more of a dual threat quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. Last year, Ohio State, obviously they had the bowl ban, so they couldn't play in postseason, but they went 12-0, pretty much all based on.
But how much of that 12?
All based on I think it's all based on the arm and legs of Braxton Miller.
My question is that 12-0, they were playing without the pressure of being like, are you going to be in the BCS? Because they couldn't have been.
That's true, but then, come on, they're all motivated college football players. They're not going to want to go out and
just a point.
All right, so I'll throw some stats at you now. Maybe the passing isn't as impressive as Bridgewater. 15 touchdowns. 2,039 yards, only 6 interceptions, so he was pretty efficient.
Dual threat, though.
But, 227 carries for a total of 1,271 yards, 13 touchdowns. So, I think he has more of a big play ability. I mean, when you think about Heisman, you think of like they have a Heisman moment during the season. So
Okay, I see that.
I think Braxton Miller has more potential for a Heisman type moment. I mean, playing the Big Ten, it's a stacked conference, going up against Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin.
That's also chances to lose. Teddy Bridgewater's probably not going to lose in their schedule.
But Braxton Miller, I mean, they beat them all last year, and they have most of the returning starters on offensive defense coming back. So
I see your logic.
I just think playing in the better competition in the Big Ten will give him a better shot.
Now, personally, I think we got the given here. My boy Johnny Football.
Okay.
Yep.
Now,
Can't
now
argue with it.
Manziel, he's a freshman and he wins the Heisman. Come on, who does that?
That's unheard of. I'll give you
Johnny
that.
Football does that. That's
Only
it.
Johnny Football. You know, a few stats here. You know, 26 TDs, only 9 interceptions. The kid's got accuracy. You know, what can I say?
Exactly.
He's like a video
Let
game.
alone he's rushing
Exactly.
for over 1,000 yards. And he's passing for over 3,700. So, you know, the stats are with him, and he's got the players to back him up.
That's
and,
true.
You know,
I worry about a sophomore slump for Johnny Football personally.
I think the hype might get to
losing
him.
Luke Jokel too. He'll be the number 1 pick, and
Yeah,
his
the left
tackle
tackle.
is
Very good
blindside.
point.
I don't know.
he's got the wheels to get away, though.
I mean, that's
It's
true.
true.
I mean, I
It's
could
true.
see
To get
him
away.
winning it again. I
But
just
he's
think
not.
Bridgewater's
I
the
feel like
best.
he's not going to catch all the other SEC teams by surprise.
Yeah, he's
next
not going
year.
to catch anyone by surprise. Everyone will be game planning him week in and week out. And another name to watch. What do you guys think about AJ McCarron? Because he's not.
That's
like,
a great point. just
He doesn't
because-
catch your eye, but he's quarterbacked the national championship team, and he threw
2
like
years in a
4
row.
picks and like 29
Exactly.
touchdowns, if I'm correct.
It'll be a sleeper if he gets it, though.
Definitely.
I think just because, I mean, if you look in the past, RG3, he's a dual threat quarterback. I think that hurts McCarron, but Alabama's just stacked. We know that.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
They have obviously a phenomenal
Right,
chance getting to the
definitely.
national championship, and if he's leading the troops.
Before we end,
him and TJ Yeldon.
super sleeper. Chase Reddick, quarterback, Boston College.
That
Run the
is-
table.
That will. I'll tell you right now, that will not happen.
Hey, if
He
it
will-
does,
he
you
will
owe me
not win the
$1,000.
Heisman. He will not win the Heisman.
All right, let's move on to the third question here. Should collegiate athletes be paid in some form?
Interesting. Why don't you take this one first, Alex? You got any ideas?
Well, personally, I'm going to have to go with no. Absolutely not. These kids are pretty much getting paid as it is. Look at it. They're getting full ride scholarships. They're getting health care for any injuries they get. They're getting
that's
food.
a good
They're getting everything. These kids don't have to work a day in their life. Working
Exactly.
a day in their life in college, you know. Once they get out of there, then they got to get some money going for them. But
wouldn't-
while they're in school,
yeah.
no worries.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I mean, if you look at an athlete versus an academic person going for just academics, you can get plenty of money for being the smartest kid. They get paid to go to college, or you can be an athlete and get paid to go to college. I understand.
Paid in the form of just them paying for your college?
Yeah, no, as a scholarship.
Okay, yep,
in turn,
yep.
And I mean, I understand that the schools are making a ton of revenue off these kids, but I just think it's not right to pay a college player when they're already getting paid to go to school to play athletics. I don't know.
All right, hold that thought, both of you. Okay. The moral is you automatically think don't pay them. They're amateurs,
Well, here
right?
we go, yeah.
Let me give you some figures real quick. Alabama, guess how
Dazzle
much
us.
they got in yearly revenue from sports last year?
Sports or just football?
Sports.
Upwards of.
$123 million.
Million.
You think about that. That's so much money. That's an absurd amount of money. Why? And even schools like, I looked at some data, Wyoming and Ball State and Air Force and UAB, all these schools are getting
Random
7 figures worth of money, tens of millions of dollars every single year just from their athletic departments. Why couldn't you give, say, players on the footballs and basketball teams, like obviously you're not going to give like women's squash players money, but like
Well,
players.
then there's the
Well,
argument.
yeah.
Like, where's your argument? Well, why do you say that?
You gotta.
because how much money is the squash
That's true.
team?
but
Where
how-
does-
how can
where
you,
does
how
the
can you
line
not-
draw?
how- exactly. How can you not divvy
Yeah.
out the money evenly between all the athletic
Are
teams?
community colleges going to be paying their players? You know, like
I don't know. That's their decision. I think it should be a college by college decision. I don't know if it probably won't happen.
It's
It
too big of
almost
an
definitely
issue, I
won't
feel
happen.
like, to be college by college.
But
It's got to be an NCAA ruling.
Yeah.
What's the penalty with, say, I don't know, basketball makes X amount of dollars. You divvy like a small portion of that money. You give each player $300 a month so they can. I mean, these kids. You think about it, like the Fab Five. You guys ever seen that documentary that mentioned Chris Webber? They would sell his jersey for $75, and he wouldn't have any money to get pizza or anything in his apartment, and he would be hungry all the time. So why don't you give him? You count. I mean,
that
that's
entice
just the money
people?
that money is just the money that the school is getting. Imagine what like Nike and all these vendors are getting for selling people with like your number on it. Like, why shouldn't you get at least like $300 and you can maybe, you're not going to do anything with $300. You're not going to get in trouble
Would that
with
entice people to play certain sports? Because, I mean, if you're not going to make money off playing tennis or squash, like you said, why would anyone play it if they know they're not going to make any money off it?
Because you're good at it. Not everyone can play college football or basketball. It's not like everyone has a choice when they're coming to college.
That's
Should I
true.
play football or should I play tennis?
I mean, it's just from the start.
From the start. Okay, all right, I see what you mean. But I mean, isn't football and basketball more lucrative anyway? Unless you're like
Yeah.
you're probably gonna get the average player probably gets more money.
You got to factor in, like, is every team going to pay the same amount to each player, or is it the bigger?
It's based on their revenues.
Based on revenues?
Yeah.
So then the top prospects, they're all just going to want to go to the same teams.
Isn't that way anyway? Kentucky, look, they get 5 of the top 20 freshmen every single year.
Different story.
Calipari, that's Kentucky, that's tradition.
But isn't it the reason they go there because they know they're going to go to the pros anyway? So.
All right. Well, if it's somewhat like that now as is, it's just going to be increased that much more though.
I mean, I see your points as far as not paying them, but I mean, there's so much money going around. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, this has been pretty good so far for the first 3 questions. We're going to come back with 3 more later on in the episode, so look for the return of Case in Point.
Man, it was getting pretty heated.
Oh, it really was.
Look for the return of the Case in Point segment at the end of this episode, but now we're going to move on to the Rising Stars segment featuring the CHS tennis teams.
The girls' tennis team has been a collective bulldozer this year, mowing down every man, woman, and child who dare enter its path. The team currently sits at 5-0 and has taken down the likes of South Shore mainstays, Norwell, and Hingham.
And everyone knows sophomore Emma Davis is absolutely invincible, but we're going to take a look at some rookies. 2 especially impressive young guns have been the freshman duo of Caroline Van Netten and Ryan Spicer, prospects who are part of the next generation of girls tennis stars.
Certainly the girls team is loaded with talent both now and in the future, so their future looks very bright. Now let's look at some Frosh boys who have been tearing up the courts.
And these freshmen are Sam Pitts and Jackson Dutton, who have fought their way up the ladder into the starting lineup. The boys team currently sits at 2-2, and they can attribute much of their success to the fierce freshman duo.
This 2-man wrecking ball of young potential looks to hope to lead the skippers into the tourney alongside the leadership of juniors Doug Fitzgerald and Eric Weinstein, and seniors Jack Tomei and Justin Juicy J. Coben.
We hope you all enjoy this tennis update because we certainly did. Now from the courts to the turf, the girls lacrosse team has had a tremendous campaign thus far. But what's even more impressive, however, is what some of the team is doing in the near future.
Wow, let's take a look at 4 Cohasset girls who have committed to play Division I lacrosse. Maddie Curley, Molly Fitzgerald, Catherine Dunn, and Hope Kissick. All right, now Anthony and I will discuss the girls lacrosse team who has not only achieved great success on the field this season, but also is sending 4 players to play Division I lacrosse at their respective schools. So we'll take a look at where those players are headed in the coming years.
First up is junior Molly Fitzgerald, who committed to play lacrosse at the College of William & Mary, so she'll be playing in the Colonial Athletic Association next year, and Molly hopes to have a great impact on the tribe under the direction of head coach Brooke Ireland.
And another junior we'll be looking at is Maddie Curley, who recently committed to Boston University as a Terrier. They've achieved great success recently. BU has, from 2005 to 2010, they won 6 straight America East Conference championships and also went to the NCAA tournament all 6 of those years. So they've been very good recently, and she hopes to continue that tradition of winning and just doing well all around. And additionally, Catherine Dunn committed to Georgetown University. She's also a junior, so she'll be playing there in 2 years. Georgetown, part of the Big East, which we know is one of the toughest women's conferences in all of college sports. And Georgetown is really good this year as well. They're ranked number 8, 9, and 3 currently, so they're really good. And Catherine hopes to once again continue that winning tradition as Maddie looks to do at BU.
And our final commit is senior Hope Kissick. She's committed to play at the University of Florida, so she'll be a Gator next year. The Gator Chomp, that's right. The Gators are currently number 2 in the country with a record of 15-1, and the program just started back in 2010, but they've already won 2 straight conference championships, and they made it to the Final Four back in 2012. So Hope looks to continue the winning ways of Florida.
Definitely, and great job. We wish luck to all of those players, Molly, Maddie, Catherine, and Hope. And just in the future, go Skippers. Once again, we'd like to congratulate those 4 on their commits, and we wish the entire girls lacrosse team success in what hopes to be a great season.
And on the flip side, the boys lax team has also had quite an impressive season thus far under the tutelage of new coach James Bowden. I caught up with the newest skipper, and he shared his thoughts on the season thus far. Take a look and take a listen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with head coach James Bowden of the boys lacrosse team. Coach, we're just going to ask you a few questions. First off, not a lot of people know you. You're a brand new coach for the team, obviously. Could you just tell us, your lacrosse career? Did you play in college? What other coaching stops have you made along the way?
Yeah, I played college lacrosse in Vermont, University of Vermont. Played in high school, obviously, and I was a goalie. After that, I did some traveling abroad and to Asia and Europe, and then after that, I started coaching in Virginia. My first head coaching stint down there. Learned a lot. It's a little different style of play down there, and then met my wife, and her career's kind of moved me throughout the prep schools up north. Okay. I was in Connecticut and New Hampshire, and now we're finally happy to settle down in Cohasset. And so, I've been coaching now for about 10 years as a head coach. I had 2 years as an assistant before that. And it's kind of really been part of who I am since I was a freshman year in high school when I picked up the sport.
Awesome. You mentioned you've been coaching at some prep schools. Now that you're here at a public school in Cohasset that's had a lot of recent success in the lacrosse program, what's the transition been like? Is there any difference between coaching for the private schools versus the public in Cohasset?
I'd say, Cohasset, what drew me here was because it has more of that size and feel that I'm used to, 350 kids. The kids who have the commitment to the sport, just like prep school. So there hasn't been, because I'm not in the school and I'm just the coaching aspect, right. I haven't noticed much of a difference, to be honest with you. Obviously, the kids knowing each other that they play is quite different. In the preps, they're kids from all over the country, and they don't necessarily play with each other in Massachusetts or the Blackjacks. So that's been a big adjustment, which is good because the kids will tell me, a game plan of who to look out for, who are their players. But as far as the kids and everyone, it's been seamless for me, and it feels like a prep school mentality. Here, how into the sport the kids are, how dedicated. A lot of when I was at day schools before, even the feels pretty much the same.
And we know that you guys are a pretty young team, only a handful of seniors. There's a lot of freshmen playing some vital roles. Can you just go through maybe some of the advantages and disadvantages of having such a young team?
Sure. I mean, I think you can look at some of the other teams that we play, like Norwell, who graduated like 19 seniors, and look at how well they're doing now, because they didn't let young guys get reps. And I've always been a fan of letting younger guys play whenever possible. If we're winning a game, I want everyone in there. We don't need to blow them out. We need playing time. I think younger kids need skills so that they're going to be in there. There's injuries,
Absolutely.
Our season can't be ended because 2 kids blow out their knee. We've got to be deep enough and have enough playing. I think the freshmen are stepping up, and they'll be the leaders, and there's great sophomores, juniors, seniors. I think you need 3 or 4 from each class to be main role players so that it just continues. There's a tradition there.
Absolutely. And we also know that you guys have a pretty tough schedule, a lot of non-conference opponents you have to face this year that are really top-tier teams. How do you think you've measured up so far?
Our 2 losses were against, Nobles is one of the tops in the preps right now, top 5. And Marshfield's one of the tops in all of Eastern Massachusetts in general. They're in the top 5, top 10. So, and I think both of those games we could have been a lot closer. We've changed a few things. We've kids are starting to gel more, and I think even those games could have been closer if we played them later in the season. We still got Hingham. We've got BC High, but I think looking at the future, I think we can do really well. We can definitely win all the games that are left if we play the way we've been playing the last 2 games. I mean, the kids are focused, the effort's there, and I'm not intimidated by anybody left on our schedule, quite frankly.
That's great. And just lastly, what are your expectations moving forward for the rest of the season in terms of the playoffs and maybe hopefully a state championship?
I think the expectations are there for the town, for the kids, for me, for even everyone in the lacrosse world. They know that Cohasset's going to be in the hunt.
Right.
I think we can definitely get home field advantages. We can do really well if you're looking at how deep our team is. I mean, we're missing 5 to 7 kids because of they're sick, because of family commitments and other things, and we haven't missed a step. So I think once we get all 29 kids there, there's really no stopping them once they're clicking, and the kids want it. They're really talented. We've got 4 kids with close to 20 points, and so it's really spread out offense. The defense is gelling really well. I mean, I think we've got great players at every spot. So I think we can go to the distance if the kids stay focused, keep working hard, and I can get some good scouts on our opponents.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. James Bowden, and myself, Anthony Nahill.
Great job, Coach. And Anthony, you did good for once. Good job, buddy.
Thanks.
Now what you guys have all been waiting for, the second coming of Case in Point. Da, 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 da. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had time for a quick wardrobe change. Now we're back for the last 3 questions of Case in Point. Alex will be our mediator once again, so let's dive right in.
All right. Our next question is going to be, who will win the Hart Trophy this year? For the NHL, obviously.
Take it away.
I'll go first. I think that Patrick Kane is a guy on the Chicago Blackhawks. You look at what he's done this year. He 20 goals and 27 assists this year. He's been putting up great numbers in a shortened season at that. And the Blackhawks also had a 24-game streak without a loss this season, so they got a point every single time. Then that's like one of the, in NHL history, that's one of the longest streaks. So you look at what his team's done and what he's done for his team. I think you look at the best player on the best team, and I think you got to give him the Hart Trophy. But what do you guys think?
I'm going to go with Sidney Crosby. Penn's on quite a roll right now, first in the East, if I'm not mistaken. Crosby has 15 goals, 41 assists to lead the NHL, 56 points to lead the NHL, and a plus 26, fourth in the NHL. So I mean, he's just on fire right now. I just
With
think-
Crosby, you also got to look at, the guy broke his jaw.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Guy broke his jaw at the end of May. He's been out for a few weeks now, and he's still
Exactly.
leading the league in points.
That's true. That's a good point. Good point.
But another name that's recently coming up right now is Ovechkin. He's making
Sure.
a second half of the season tear right now, bringing the Caps to. Okay, well, we lost one. So he has 198 shots right now and 19 goals in only 18 games. So
All right, that's fair enough. That's a good
That's
point.
phenomenal.
I mean,
he's making a tear, and he's brought the Caps to, I believe, an 8-game win streak.
did he have an
recently.
Ovechkin trick this year?
I don't think he has the Ovechkin
All right,
this
all right,
year,
we'll
but
see,
you know,
we'll see.
but he's making a run for the Hart Trophy. That's for sure.
I don't know. I just think you look at Kane, best player on the best team. You know,
But he has Taves. I just think. I mean, Crosby has Malkin also, but
it's
he's
the same.
just coming back from injury. I think got to take that into consideration.
But he's also missing time, so that's like not valuable.
But he's
for
still
his team.
producing more than Kane, and
But he's the best player on the best team. That's all I'm saying.
You got to also Crosby, what he's been through over the last couple of years, the amount of push he's been through.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's been. Would they have sympathy giving him the Hart Trophy, or is that just
he's leading the league in
Hey,
points, just
I mean,
coming back from
he's still-
concussions.
You got to look at the stats
And-
here.
True. Very
It's
true.
not just a pretty face.
fair enough? Let's just move on.
All right, on to the next question. Who do you believe are the top 5 point guards in the NBA?
Go first, Anthony. You
You
got
want me?
this one.
You want me to go down the list, maybe?
Go
All
with
right.
the list.
So number 5, I got Steph Curry. I
Of
just
the
think-
Warriors, for
Of the
those of you who
Warriors,
don't
sure.
Just read them all off, and then we'll
Okay.
discuss.
Steph Curry. 4, I got Kyrie Irving of the Cleveland Cavaliers. 3, Russell Westbrook of the Oklahoma City Thunder. B, Derrick Rose of the Chicago Bulls. I know he's hurt, but still think he's up at number 2. And number 1, best point guard in the league, flat out, Chris Paul.
All right, fair enough. And by the way, we're considering this, like, regardless of injury. So, like, even if players are injured, they're still considered for being, so like D Rose and Rondo, they're still at their primes. That's what we're talking about. So, my 5 is number 5, got to go hometown, Rajon Rondo. Tony Parker is number 4 for me of the Spurs. Russell Westbrook of the Thunder is 3rd. Derrick Rose of the Bulls, 2. And, like you, CP3, Chris Paul of the Clippers is number 1. So you don't have Tony Parker?
Do we have the same? Do we have the same 1, 2,
No,
3?
I just want to jump in for a minute here and just say that you guys are forgetting the best point guard in the whole league, Steve Nash, my fellow Canadian here.
Oh, yeah,
he's,
all right.
He's
All
off
right,
the
I'm
list.
Canadian.
That's all I gotta say.
Don't even
He's gotta
go
say,
If he maybe 5 years ago,
Yeah,
when he won
probably.
the back-to-back MVPs, but I don't know about right now.
he's still got it personally. I think he's bringing the heat.
Do we have the same top 3?
I have Westbrook, Rose, CP3.
Okay, I got the same thing.
All right,
it's
so
more the 4
how
and
do you not
5,
have Parker or Rondo? Like, I don't even understand that.
but-
Well, Tony
Parker-
Parker this year, 20.3 points per game, 7.6 assists per game. They have the 2 seed in the West.
He's having a great year. I just think that I know the discussion is when healthy, but Parker's a huge injury risk. He's on the back end of his career. I just think.
So what? Look at his numbers.
What position? What spot do you have him at?
He's a 4 spot.
4. All right, I have Kyrie. He's 20 years old. I think.
I'm not talking. We're talking about right now.
I know.
What-
23.3 points per game, 5.6 assists, 4
The
rebounds,
Cavs
and
are
2
so
steals.
bad, though. The Cavs are going to be a lottery team. He's not
We're
even.
not. We're not talking about
We're not
team.
talking
I
about
think
teams
he's
right now.
good.
We're talking about
I'm talking
individual
of a
players.
Part of being a player is leading your team. to wins.
Without Kyrie on this team, they would have 4 wins, 5 wins.
He is a huge factor to the team here.
No. Luke Walton is a powerhouse. He would lead that team anyway. Anyway,
that's a great joke. I can
Parker.
see. I see why you can argue for Parker. I just maybe it's personal bias. I've just never put him in.
We
that
take
top
this
5
game
category.
one-on-one to the
He's so
streets.
underrated. He's so underrated. People don't know. He doesn't have a big name like Westbrook or D Rose or something like that. But Tony Parker, even consideration for MVP this year, I argue.
Sure, I'll give him that.
alright.
He's having a phenomenal year. And then, I think I just have a thing for Steph Curry. I just 272 threes past Ray Allen's streak this year.
He's a great shooter, but is he?
But,
point guard?
22 points per game, close to 7 assists, 4 rebounds, so he's getting it done. 46% from 3. He can score. He had 56?
I
he had
think
56 in the Garden a couple
MSG, right? Yeah,
weeks ago. The scoring ability is just
I think
off the
Curry
charts.
and Kyrie should be on that other guys list with guys like Darren Williams and Ty Lawson and Drew Holiday and even Damian Lillard. There's so many good point guards in this league. It's hard to choose a top 5, but I don't think those two guys really should belong in the top 5. And you look at Rondo. Rondo's the only guy in the league who averages, the only point guard in the league who averages a double-double, 13.7 points per game and 11.1 assists per game. He also averaged close to 6 rebounds a game. So I mean, you look at him and he had, I think it was 4 triple doubles in the less than a half of the season that he played.
I'll give him that.
And he had 6 last year. You got to put Rondo in that list.
Yeah, but his attitude and his whole swagger get in the way of
he led that team
basketball.
They wouldn't have gone anywhere. They wouldn't have gone anywhere last year without him.
I'll give you that.
This is a hard question.
Pure
We both know
preference.
because of how many really, really good point
top
guards
10,
is the point guard.
But I think we can all agree that Nash is still number 1,
Yeah.
though, right? All right.
And Luke Ridnour too.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's a name drop. All right. Here we go. On to the next question.
The final question. So.
Yep. Who is, in your mind, the title favorite for the NBA playoffs?
Take it away.
I think Alex should go first.
Sure.
Personally, we'll give him the last chance.
I think we got a simple decision here. As much as I don't want to say it, the Heat, I think it's going to happen.
Oh, boo! Bandwagon fan.
Like, you can't dethrone King James here in this situation. You know, look at this team, powerhouse. What is it, 27 win streak, I believe? 27 win streak. This team is just, looks like they're just playing pickup ball out there, when they're playing together. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to beat them.
Maybe that's true, but I'm never going to say that. I'll never admit that.
That actually kind of hurt a little bit. It hurt a little bit saying it.
Thing why we won't choose the Heat.
In reality, I think that the team that has the best shot, everyone knows it's the Heat and everybody else. I think the team that has the best shot at challenging the Heat is who they played last year in the finals, OKC.
There you go.
KD and Russell, I think obviously probably the most dynamic scoring combo in the entire league.
That's definitely true.
And even when we got rid of James Harden, they got a guy in Kevin Martin who can fill it up.
He's not James Harden though.
He's not James Harden, but he can fill it up.
Sure.
And you look at also they have what's his name? Serge Ibaka in the middle.
Ibaka.
Ibaka, Flocka Flame.
There we
He
go.
rejects shots, and Perkins is playing pretty bad, but when he's in the playoffs, I see him turning on the switch and being the old Perk that we saw in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at some role players that they have, like Thabo Cephalosha, lockdown defender. Ronnie Brewer, another lockdown defender. Reggie Jackson out of BC. Big shout out to Reggie. He's improving
point guard.
every single time. Nick Collison takes a lot of heat. He's not that good, but he
is going to be taking a lot of heat from the Heat this year, though.
that's so bad. But anyway, Colin, like the veteran presences they have on this team, along with the young players, I think you have to look at them as a real title favorite. I don't think they'll lose to the Heat if they get in the playoff, if they get in the finals again. I don't think they're going to lose 2 straight finals to the same team.
Yeah, I'm going to go in a different direction, just kind of like mix it up. In the Heat and Thunder, the 2 1 seeds in the East and West. Obviously, you think they're going to have a clear, easy pass to the finals.
Best teams, yeah.
I'm gonna say it's possibly the Clippers of LA.
This is not a dunk contest.
I know it's not a dunk contest.
If it was a dunk contest, they'd probably win.
It's not Lob City,
boy.
but their starting lineup, Chris Paul, I think MVP.
We agree.
MVP, best point guard in the league, MVP candidate this year. You have the experience in Chauncey Billups. He's won championships before back in Detroit. He knows how to get it done. Caron Butler, great defender, he can score if he needs to. And then I think the front court that could challenge maybe the Heat, that's probably where they lack the most. And then maybe the Thunder because of the lack of scoring ability in the front court. And you have Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I know they're on SportsCenter top 10 plays every other day pretty much.
Well, DeAndre Jordan is leading the league in field goal percentage. People don't know that. But
that is true, but
he's good.
All his buckets are, from 2 feet
That's
away.
true. No,
they're all
continue.
dunks. But I just think, and then when you look at, you mentioned the Thunder's bench. You have Eric Bledsoe, a solid, third year now, backup point guard to CP3 can score, and then Jamal Crawford, we know,
fill it up.
possible 6-man in the league this year, absolutely can score. Matt Barnes, solid backup, the 3 position. Lamar Odom, very versatile.
Oh,
I know.
Don't give me Lamar Odom. Oh man.
I know it's his second stint in LA, but I think he can perform in the playoffs.
I don't see them winning a championship. You have one player who's like a probably legitimate superstar in Chris Paul, but Blake Griffin. What has he done when he's been like?
They're a good team, but they just don't have that spark.
They don't
to
have
get
the
to finals.
experience. Sure, they don't have the experience yet. It's the first.
I just don't see
first time they
guys
won
like
the
Blake
Pacific
Griffin
Division.
and DeAndre Jordan performing in like a tough 7-game series.
No.
I don't see them with grit and sweat. They have this flash, but I don't think they really have what it takes.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't been there, but got to start somewhere. It'll be
That's
the
very
first
true.
time making the playoffs for. A lot of these guys. Chris Paul's been there, obviously. Chauncey Billups.
Couple other teams. What do you guys think about the Lakers?
with the hit from Kobe being gone, I don't think.
I think they might be. They're not better without Kobe, but I think they play better without Kobe.
But they need somebody who has the experience, who can show them
Who's
what it's like to be.
who's gonna take the last shot?
Yeah.
If the
Powell.
game
Powell is so
Yeah.
underrated. Powell is a good
he
player.
can knock down the mid range, but I mean, come
Steve
on.
Nash will be back soon. Best point guard in the league, according to Alex.
Steve Nash
Kent.
will be back for the probably game one, their series. I think out of the West, if you want to look at a dark horse, I think
Nuggets.
Not that I was going to say the Nuggets until Danilo Gallinari went down.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
and
good point.
then Kenneth Fareed sprained his ankle. So
Oh, yeah, that's a
that
good
helps the
point.
question.
That's a
I'm
good
going to go with
point.
the Warriors. I mentioned. I know I had Steph Curry. I just think the scoring ability. You have Klay Thompson can shoot threes. Obviously Steph Curry. They're really young. Harrison Barnes. A lot of young guys in the mix. I mean, I don't see them maybe getting out of the first round, but
You say maybe a series or two.
If I had to pick a team to go on a little run, maybe, but.
Another team, everyone can agree, Boston Celtics.
There we go.
I can see them in the finals.
Hometown favorite right there.
Not even just because they're a hometown favorite. They're just they're
playing well
turn
right
that
now.
proverbial switch, then I think that
I mean, Jeff Green is just playing out of his mind right now.
he really is.
And KG's back, so sure.
We can all agree. Let's go Celtics, right?
All right.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning into Case in Point. Thank you very much to Alex Kent, our contest winner, for being our mediator today. For my colleague Anthony Nahill, I'm Matthew McCormick. Back to the studio.
We hope you all enjoyed that fiery debate, which will conclude episode 7. As always, we would like to thank our technical crew, especially Colin Bell and Don Royne, for being very accommodating in the past few weeks as we put this episode together.
We'd like to thank Don especially. He's been great. That wraps up for tonight. We hope you guys all enjoyed our 7th episode, and we hope it was our best so far. We'd like to thank the entire town of Cohasset. You see, we're here on the beautiful Common. And we'd like to thank all of you for your support on 143 TV and on Twitter, on Facebook. We hope you keep up with the social networks. It's been great for us. For my colleague Anthony Nahill and the entire CSPN staff, I'm Matthew McCormick. Until next time, keep it classy, Cohasset.